Welcome to the Business Spotlight. Jude Wharton, Business Director at Ready Steady Websites, is with us today. Jude, I'm super excited to have you, and I'm really interested to hear a little bit more about your journey and some of the lessons that you've learned. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to dive straight in. Tell us a bit more about what exactly is it that you do, for how long, and a little bit about how the journey's been like to this point.
Okay, so we launched our business in 2010. And when I say me, that is my husband and business partner, Chris, and myself. And when we launched our business, we launched under the business name Second Floor Designs. And we were a very small digital design agency doing bespoke websites and branding. And that went all right for a while, but there are the peaks and troughs of always doing project-based work. And that can be a little bit of a struggle, especially as we had, put all our eggs in one basket, both of us working for the company. It needed to work. And so over time, we looked at ways that we could create more of a passive income to go alongside our project work, hopefully one that was going to be perhaps more consistent or at least bolster it. And we started designing and selling WordPress themes. And that really took off for a while, really took off for a while, and was fantastic. And after those few years of having those peaks and troughs and those concerns, it stopped that. Like, it was doing really nicely. And then some of the massive WordPress themes came out and they knocked all of us little theme authors out of the water, and we realized we were going to have to find something else. And so we looked at creating courses for a while, and we did do that for a little while, WordPress courses. And then we sort of came upon this idea that we could combine the themes and the courses essentially and create this platform for people that they could create their websites themselves, but with really good guidance through our online tutorials, plus really nice hands-on support from us if they've got any problems, and to help with all the tech things. And we sort of created this middle ground between people completely doing their website themselves or getting an agency to do it for them. And that's when we launched Ready Steady Websites about 6 years ago, because we had been working with a lot of very small businesses and entrepreneurs who needed that. They were saying to us they didn't want to completely do it themselves. They didn't want to have to think about all the tech stuff, but they didn't have the budget for the getting it completely done. And so, yeah, so we created Ready Steady Websites. We now work with a lot of very small business owners and entrepreneurs. We created it as a subscription model so that the price can be spread out, so that those people with lower budgets find it really manageable to use our service. And the service has just grown from there, really. And we've added new templates based on what people need. We've added membership sites into what we offer. We now have a smaller branding package as well than we offered through Second Floor that's right for those small business owners. And we keep expanding, and we are literally about to launch our new website next week that will also allow people to buy their domain names through us. And so we really are going to be that one-step shop for the whole online presence that people need for a small business. So yeah, it's grown a lot over 15 years, and this is where we are now.
Jude, that sounds like an amazing journey. So what's been some of the biggest lessons you've learned in the past 15 years?
I think one of them is that it really is good to have a business where you do have different income streams, because just relying solely on the projects, or even just relying, so if we'd sort of gone, oh, the WordPress themes has taken off massively, let's just focus on that. And then when those big players came in and sort of blew us out the water, we then would have struggled, but it was okay because we did have projects still going on and we had other ideas. And so, yeah, I think that is a really important thing, to kind of not just to be relying on one stream of income. I always think you definitely want to be focusing on your area of expertise and not going too far outside of that, but having different ways that you are offering that and different paths is a really good thing, and it makes a business nice and safe. Um, I also think that don't underestimate the power of an email list, because we didn't really focus on building an email list until we did the WordPress themes. And then we really properly focused on it before we were launching Ready Steady websites. And having that list of people there that you know they're interested in what you do. And so when you've got an offer to put out there or a new service, you've already got these people there listening, ready to buy from you. That has increased the income in our business massively since we created an email list. So I would say as soon as you started in business, find a way to build that email list, because I think it's so important for your marketing.
Those are some great pieces of advice there. Jude, thank you so much for sharing that those lessons, and yeah, just fantastic advice. I like the whole email list for sure. I think that is a really good takeaway there for business owners. Um, what other advice would you give people thinking of starting out in business or recently started in business?
I think there's a couple of things. First, I would get people around you who get it. So, especially if you're starting out on your own, I think it can be very difficult that maybe you've got these ideas, but you're not sure if it's the right way to go, and you've got nobody to talk it through with. So, I'd say as soon as you can, find some networking groups that are right for you. And it might take time to do that. Like the first networking I went to was definitely not right for me. I just stood there the whole time thinking, I feel so uncomfortable and out of my depth that I don't think I should be here. But there are the right ones out there for you. So definitely go and do some networking, and do it with the hat on of I'm looking for people to support me. Not you're going out there to just try and sell and get clients straight away, because having those people there to support you will help you make the good decisions in business, because you can talk them through with them. Naturally, then obviously they get to know what you do. They will then maybe want to use you themselves, or they'll know other people that will, and then the work will come from it naturally. But going out and just doing that, chatting to other business owners and doing it online as well. I do some in-person networking, but I do some online networking. I find both as valuable as each other, maybe in different ways. But that's one thing I would say. I'd also say as well that just be prepared to be patient, and that everything takes time. And I am not a patient person, and I don't like it when things take time. But even now, I have to realize, like when we're trying something new, putting a new service out there, it's not going to fly off the shelf straight away. And just sort of accept that and allow it to take the time. Don't sort of think, well, I put an offer out there, 3 weeks later, nobody's bought it, no one's ever going to buy it. It might be you need to review it. You need to review how you're marketing it. Maybe you're not quite wording it right. Maybe it isn't quite the right offer and it needs a little bit of tweaking, but don't just go, well, that hasn't worked, and move on to something else. Everything needs iteration processes and patience, and using those people that you meet through networking to talk all that through with will make life a lot easier in business.
Wow, that's some golden nuggets right there, Jude. Thanks so much for that. So what would you say is a memorable hurdle that you've overcome, and what did you learn from that?
I think we've had a couple. I think one of them was when we were newer in business. We were, I don't know, probably a couple of years in at this stage. And we had got to the point where we were really low on our money. We were having really one of those troughs, like projects had finished. People were saying they wanted to work with us, but new projects hadn't started. And that was a challenge. That was a challenge to stay calm, to stay patient, not to panic and start and these are the things that I think when you're in business at that point, you can start panicking, going, right, I'm just going to reduce all of our prices and we're just going to seem desperate and just try and get work in. And it's sort of having that trust that, like, you know, you've sold your stuff before, people will buy it again. You need to kind of trust yourself, trust in the process, not make silly decisions when things are getting a bit difficult, because they'll probably just lead to more problems down the line. So I think that's one hurdle, that financial hurdle, and not kind of jumping into that panic mode and thinking reducing prices and just taking on any work, even if maybe it's not quite right for us, because that leads to problems as well. If you take on jobs that you think it's not really what I know how to do, but maybe I can make it work and I'm desperate at the moment, it's never worth it. So don't make those panic decisions when money is a little bit tough. I think that's one of the hurdles that we had to overcome, and it took us a little while to learn that, and we definitely did make those panic decisions, and they definitely didn't come off at times. I think another hurdle that we've had, and we've been really lucky, and we've probably only had it 2 or 3 times maybe, is when you're working with a client who just you've realized is not right for you. And it's a really difficult relationship, and you know it's a relationship that is going to need to end. And making that decision of, you know, how you do that. We've had it with one person we were on a retainer with, one person and 2 other people who we had ongoing project with. With the one we were on a retainer with, you know, we got to the point of like the review process of whether the retainer is going to carry on. And we just were very honest that we felt like their way of working, she was a very nice person, but great fun if you were just like knew her, but she was very last minute and very hectic with everything. And that made it very difficult for us to plan our other work around the stuff that she wanted. And so it was difficult to kind of give that feedback and say, do you know what, your way of working doesn't match up ours, and we're really sorry, this is going to have to be it. But we felt it was really important to do, otherwise we were just going to get ourselves more and more stressed with trying to work in that way that just wasn't good for us. The other 2 projects, one we allowed that project to come to an end, but we did say again, their way of working didn't really work for us. We're not taking on this kind of project anymore, and we won't be doing any more projects with you, but thank you so much for your like being our client up until now. There's just been one that we've had to end during the project and just say to the person, we're really sorry, we can't work with you anymore in this way. The way that she fed back to us was quite rude, and she just, I don't think she could really communicate what she needed to us, and therefore we weren't providing what she wanted. And yeah, that was the only time we've had to end a project halfway through. But I think every time we were right to do it, because the relationship, the dynamic wasn't right. If it wasn't right for us, it probably really wasn't right for them. And they are big hurdles, and it is horrible to have to accept that actually it almost feels like that failed in the business, that sort of client relationship has broken down. Like I said, with one of them, we very much happily maintained that they're a lovely person, but it just wasn't, the dynamic wasn't right. And it's a difficult hurdle to go over. And I think over the years, we've got more confident with dealing with things like that. But yeah, it's hard. And I think when you work for someone else, those kind of things, you just can hide behind the business, and it's not your business, and it's just a decision that's been made, and I just happen to work here. When it's your business, it's harder to get over that, but it's something that we had to do, and have done, and yeah, managed to do it successfully in the end.
Oh, brilliant, and well done on, you know, taking what is very difficult action. And I agree, not easy for any business owner to have to say goodbye to business, especially when, you know, when times are maybe a little bit tough at the moment. But if it's not working, it's not right. So yeah, fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Jude, what is the key to success for you?
So I have a little phrase, and I can't remember now whether it feels like I made it up, but it almost sounds too good that I made this up. But I have this little phrase that everybody's definition of success is different, and only you know if you've made it. And for me, success is literally about having enough money to have the lifestyle that I want, while being flexible to be there for my children, to be able to go to the sports days, to be able to do the school run, to be able to finish early and take them to football training and the other things that they do. And that has always been, that's why we started our business when we knew we were having our first child, and we wanted to make sure that we were actually around for him and we weren't in our full-time jobs that were silly hours sometimes. And we've achieved it. You know, we do have a nice life. We are not jet setting off on amazing holidays every year, and you know, we're not driving around in Mercedes or whatever, but we have a very nice, comfortable life where we're able to spend time, quality time with our children and with each other, while working with really nice people. I think that helps as well. Like we do have really lovely members on Ready Steady websites, and that helps. So yeah, that's my idea of success, and I'm really happy that I've ticked that box and can say that I've done it. I know that other people look at our business and tell us you could be doing so much more with this if you got someone in to do that for you and someone in to do that for you, and da 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 da. And that's not where I am in my life at the moment. Maybe when both my children are grown up, I will be happy to manage a big team and basically let them get on with it, and I'll just sit in the garden and relax. But I don't want to manage a big team at the moment. We have two wonderful people who do work for us on a contractor basis, and that's great. That's where I am. They're brilliant at managing themselves, and that's all I need at the moment. So yeah, that's my idea of success, and yeah, I'm happy with that right now.
And I absolutely love that. That resonates so well. So, that's wonderful. And I think there's a lot of parent entrepreneurs out there, you know, that's striving to have balance and kind of, you know, not just work. So, yeah, I just love it. One piece of advice that you've received that you can pay forward.
Ooh. God, I've had so much. Obviously, it's been like 15 years, and I have had so much advice. And some of the advice I gave around networking is definitely advice that I've received, that you don't go in there trying to sell. You literally go in there just to chat to people, just to find out about them, about their businesses, see if you can help them, see if they can help you. And I think that's probably it as well. Go into every situation just thinking, can I help this person when you're talking to them? And that's not necessarily helping them through your business, with your business now. I went to a networking meeting once where there was a woman there. She was starting up a business, working with children and young people and the parents of those children and young people, about like building relationships with them, about issues around using substances and things like that. And before I worked in the web design industry, I was a youth worker and worked in children's services and education. And at a networking meeting, I sat there and I wrote a whole list of contacts for her, that people that would be great for her to go and connect with and get to know. And since then, she's remembered me, obviously, and we've stayed in touch, and I still see her occasionally. But you know, I see her still on social media. If someone asks about websites, she tags me in. So I think that is the best piece of advice when you're going networking. Like people said to me, just go in seeing how you can help and just do that. And yeah, good things will naturally come back to you, I think.
Yes, it's that idea of giving and receiving as the natural order of things. So that's just a wonderful story. Thank you for sharing that, Jude. Um, Best book or even a podcast that you've
Yeah.
listened to or read that you can recommend?
So I read, well, I get quite a lot of business books. There are not many that I get to the end of, but there have been a couple. So I will share those ones. Actually, there's been three. There's Building a Story Brand by Donald Miller. He is just fantastic about, he's got a brilliant chapter in there about websites, but also just in general about your marketing, how to talk to your ideal client, how to really think about what is it you want that client to do? How do you want them to make that next step to work with you? That one's fantastic. Also, She Means Business by Carrie Green is a great one. It's a very just motivational book, just to really kind of, and some really lovely activities in there just to get in, like get your brain thinking, creative thinking around business. And also Built to Sell by John I think you pronounced it Warrillow, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry. That's if I think you're a bit further along in business and you are thinking that maybe down the line, either you do want to take that step back and just like basically like retire while your business ticks along without you, or you are thinking about selling your business. That's a fantastic one, but it's just great tips for getting your business in order, regardless of whether you do want to pass it on. Actually, just to get it all working well, nice and smoothly now for you while you run it. The tips in there are brilliant, and it's written like a story, and I think that's why I could stick with that one. And also Donald Miller writes so nicely that that book was easy to read as well. So yeah, so I think those three are probably my top business books.
Oh, those are fantastic recommendations. And yeah, I'm definitely on board with Donald Miller. Fantastic writing. And I'm going to read She Means Business because I'm going to add that to my to read list next. So thank you for adding that to our book list. Jude, if you could magically improve one area of the business right now, what would it be?
I think it would be to get more people seeing what we do. I think we have a really lovely group of people on our list and who follow us on social media, but that needs to grow. And if I could just wave a magic wand to make that happen, that would be lovely. It's harder work than that. So yes, so I think that would be my thing, just getting more eyes on what we do, more people on our list, yeah, and more people hearing about us.
Brilliant. So you have the opportunity now. How can people get in touch and follow you?
Well, our website is obviously the first place that we direct people, which is readysteadywebsites.com. We are also Ready Steady Websites on Instagram and Facebook and on YouTube. And then I am Jude Wharton on LinkedIn. If anyone hears me, likes what I do, wants to come and follow me, or even send me a little note and connect and say that they heard me on here, I am always happy to make new connections and get networking with people on LinkedIn as well.
Brilliant. And such a great name, Ready Steady Websites. I just love it. So yeah, definitely connect with Jude if you are watching and listening. Yeah. So Jude, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on. This has been a really great interview. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me.